My name is Roya Amini-Naieni, and I'm a 12th grader from Bellevue International School. And I'm really into genetic engineering. I was a part of University of Washington's International Genetically Engineered Machines team for over 2 years. And after new regulations were imposed for high schoolers working in the lab, I'm starting Washington's first high school genetically engineered machines team. And we are working on taking genes that code for a protein that can break down PCB toxins from a really hard to culture bacteria and transferring that into E. coli bacteria, or bacteria that's really easy to work with in the lab. And that's our project for this year. So I knew science was for me when I was in University of Washington's Medical Center, and I saw a poster of this woman working on embryonic stem cell research, and she was working to cure blindness, which when I was that young, I thought it was the worst problem that could happen to anybody. And so the idea that biotechnology and science could solve a problem that big kind of drew me into the field. So other than working in the lab, what I really like to do is go online and find events in my area that have to do with science or lectures or something that I can learn, and taking the metro and going to like a lecture at UW or going to a discussion group at Addis Technical Bookshop to hear some scientists talk about what he's passionate about. So that's what I enjoy doing. So I'm marching on April 22nd because I have a few reasons. So one of them is that science is often disconnected from the scientists themselves, and people see data, and I think the government and the public needs to know that the scientists behind the data are willing to take political action and defend the truth and spread the truth. And so that's one of the reasons I'm marching, and I'm also marching because I think it's a great way to engage the public and make sure people consider science when making political decisions, just the general public and also the government. So I think marching in a large group is a great way to get attention to these political issues. Another reason I'm marching is that I marched for the Women's March, and a lot of it was centered around the numbers and how many people came out to march. And I want to contribute to the numbers for the Science March because issues facing science, the environment, climate change are really, really important in this day and age. So I think that contributing to the numbers is also really important of people. So then we get more airtime and people talk about our issues more. So one thing that I really want people to know about my field is, so I'm in bioengineering and synthetic biology. And so bioengineering is a relatively new field. So just in general, not a lot of people know about it. And so it can solve so many problems. It can solve a huge variety of problems. Like if somebody's dying from some toxin in some underdeveloped country, they don't know that bioengineering could help detect that toxin, solve that problem. And so I wish people knew that it could solve their problems, or it's a solution. It's a viable solution to a lot of problems. As a high schooler, when I was a sophomore in high school, that's when I really started getting into bioengineering. And a big challenge that I faced was my age. So there weren't many internship opportunities or opportunities for high schoolers to get involved in research. And so I actually found the clubs at University of Washington, College Club, and I just joined because they didn't have any restrictions, or they didn't mention any, so I just dived into that and dove into that, and they let me participate in their research. And so now I'm starting the first high school team in Washington, so other high schoolers could also do that sort of research and gain experience in that field. So as bioengineering, we can take different features from different organisms and use them to solve our own problems. Like the glowing jellyfish, like we can take the gene for making that fluorescent protein and use it for detecting toxins and making the system glow whenever the toxin is present. Or like spider silk, and using the protein for making spider silk and using that gene and inserting it into bacteria to make like bulletproof gear. So I would want to find some new feature in a new organism and use it to solve a problem that we're facing today. Some really cool feature. And that actually has to do with biodiversity and the environment.